We're
Oh,
already.
I'm not doing that.
Hey, everybody! Welcome
Hey.
back to the Dial In podcast. Today we have a very special guest. This is Jordan Higgs. He's a top content creator for Barbasol. And what other brands have you worked for there, Jordan?
Oh man, actually, there's been a lot. I have a list. Can I? Can I
Yeah, go
do?
ahead. Yep, yep.
I can read them off here, all on my website, jordanhiggs.com plug. So
All right. You can find him on jordanhiggs.com. Yep.
yeah, all right. So I've worked with quite a bit, but some of the big ones that people might know: my DraftKings company called Cred AI, Wall, the
Ooh, this.
shaving company,
Bzz, bzz,
Disney
yep.
on Broadway,
No way.
DoorDash.
Okay, you could just say Disney. That sounds a little better.
But it wasn't Disney, right? I
Okay.
don't need Disney hitting me up and being like, I don't remember working with you. It was definitely Disney on Broadway
Okay.
and the Mosinee Brewery, which all of you know.
No way. You got Mosinee Brewery?
Yeah, I did a whole video for them, drone, and
Yeah,
did,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it was it like vertical, like phone, social media stuff, like you're doing for Disney on Broadway?
No, this one, the Mosinee Brewery one was probably like my first actual like landscape video. So that was my first introduction into like, hey, let's do a nice video for us. That was the first that kind of opened the floodgates actually,
Oh my
and that's
gosh.
what happens when you're in Mosinee. You have nothing else to do but to
Hey,
step
hey,
out of
hey,
your comfort zone.
hey! Come on now, come on now. There's a lot of good stuff in Mosinee. There's an airport. There's a McDonald's.
The airport's technically Wausau, so
Really?
and there is not a McDonald's, so
There is a
it
McDonald's off of the free with 39. I thought. I've,
maybe.
I've made a couple poor decisions. I've been there. Been
Yeah,
there.
would you? I thought you were getting Taco Bell tonight.
Yeah, I went and self control took over. I looked. There's like 13 cars in the drive-through, and both of them really pissed me off that other people were.
Okay, that's not self-control, Tim. There were
No,
13. Yeah, you can't say
I
you
got
made a good decision there. You were already
I
there.
love. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
help. Someone's look out for me. But I totally still needed to because tomorrow I'm doing like a hard running workout, and whenever I eat Taco Bell, it's like find some bushes, man. It's bad. This is really. And I'm like 34, and I have to have the self control to like not go.
Yeah, you need. If there were 10 cars, you were waiting, but 13, that's from God.
I respect the sign. Hey, so tell me a little bit, Jordan. Like, so just so the viewers know and stuff, how did you get into doing videos and like getting to actually work with like these brands actually reached out to you on your TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Um, Wall, like, how did you even get into that avenue? Because
Should
I know
even
nothing about
start, right? Okay, so I was 3 years old,
it.
and I
Nice, nice.
no, no. So well, genuinely, it goes back a little bit. You have to. I think the biggest thing for anybody, if they even want to go down this avenue, you have to just love creating stuff, love creating content. Like I think that is skill number one or love passion number one because if you don't do it, one, it gets really hard to get recognized because the big part about being recognized is just having so much content out there, proof of work essentially. So I love doing that, whether it was like my own stuff, silly videos, putting out music and songs. It was close to 1,000 videos before I had my first thing, so that and first project, and you take a lot of free projects. So there was a time in my life, probably about maybe 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? People aren't paying me to do stuff right now. I'm going to do a year's worth of free projects because one, you're really not as good as you think you are. If you're like, oh yeah, I could make something, Mosinee Brewery, right? That started as a free project and eventually was paid, but it was like, you know, I was like, why would anybody hire me when I've got nothing under my belt, essentially? So, you do free portraits, you do free videos, you do free this. So I did a year's worth of that because you have to do it. Nobody's just good. And Tim, you know this too. You didn't start out automatically good at, weddings.
For
It
sure.
was,
Yeah.
or maybe you did. I don't know. But
No, no, no. I didn't. You're right. I got paid a backpack. They give me a $70 Shields gift card for the
yeah,
first time.
so,
And maybe that was
so
too.
Yeah, and maybe, but the big thing is like there's two things. One, you have to do it. You have to practice the skill, and two, by doing that, content creation for other people and not just like your own silly ideas. It becomes like a natural second habit. So then it's suddenly like, hey, instead of just things that I come up with, now let me take my skills and be able to do what you want, which is a whole separate thing. Anybody can do, you know, the things that they want to do whenever they want, but when you have a deadline and a brief from somebody else, it's like that's where the pressure comes in because now somebody's counting on you. I can fail on my own 1,000 times and nobody knows but me, and it's fine. Um,
That's
so
fair.
how I got started, for the long answer, essentially is once you hit that point, the emails, the DMs, I slid into so many silly companies' DMs.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, I put videos out there.
Yeah, what's some dream companies you hit up? Like, were you hitting up like, hey, Calvin Klein, need a new underwear model? Like,
All the dream companies I hit up didn't answer me.
okay.
But the first company that did hit me up was, I think, in preparation for doing the video for the brewery, right? I did um, just a fake little flash setup. I bought some, what's that beer called? The one, a Blue Moon, right? I took photos of Blue Moon, right? And I just
Oh,
put it on my
yeah.
Instagram. And then they reached out to me and they said the actual Blue Moon Brewing Company verified everything on Instagram because I tagged them in it, just being silly. And they said, hey, can we use this on our socials?
Oh my gosh.
And that was like the whoa moment for me. Like, I did this in 5 minutes in my living room in Mosinee. So
Yeah,
I was like,
with your studio set, your studio light set.
not
Uh,
even. I had a off-camera flash. I think it was leaning against another cup because I didn't have a stand for it,
yeah.
and I was just like, I didn't know how to use it, so I was just like stuffing out. Finally, it turned out cool, and I was like, all right, let's do our first product photography, and they reached out, and I think a lot of
Right.
people don't realize is that it's not some crazy, famous, like super secret person behind these marketing accounts or these social media accounts. They're 21-year-old college graduates who got put on the socials team who are doing the B work of monitoring the DMs who want to find cool content and just love when you provide it for free at no cost. And
Dang.
so that's when it started. And so then I was like, "Oh, let me just hit up some people and just, hey, I will do this because it costs a lot." And that's what's hit me now. And I had this conversation a couple weeks ago with one of my buddies. Is that people pay out the butt for content creators because it's a lot harder than you think. Like $500 a video is the low end, right? And they will pay that easy. 75 bucks for 10 seconds. Like that's a lot of money. Like especially if you're cranking out content. So when you can hook up with a company and you're not a risk. I think I'm a little bit of a risk because it's like cinematic. Jordan dancing with his cat. Jordan shirtless playing guitar. Jordan swearing at the television screen while playing soccer video games, right? So I'm a little bit of a wild card, but some
You're,
people
you're
have
talking
taken.
about you're talking about your portfolio on your TikTok.
Yeah, if they go and scroll through, like, I've always been a lot of people say, hey, pick a niche and stick with it. That's probably true, and that makes, like, I look at, and I think we've talked about this, like, I've looked at other photographers' Instagram pages, right? And they're just beautiful the whole way down. Um, that's not me, right? I can't. I'm a jack of all trades, and I like showing off my music. I like doing funny skits. So it's
Mm.
just, and I'm not gonna manage 5 different Jordan Higgs accounts, right? So
Yeah, that
so
was a shot
that's
at that was a shot
it.
at me. I felt it. I have like 12 Instagrams.
I have three. I have one, my personal one. I have my Jordan Higgs creative one, and I have my Jordan Higgs music, and that's tapping out. And then like I manage other people's pages too, so it's just a lot, right? There's only so many hours in the day. Um,
Yep.
but so you reach out to them. Eventually somebody takes a chance on you, or there's agencies who will just be like, hey, we don't even need you to post this on your page. You just make be a face. be a talking head. I'm very average looking. I am the common man, and they love that. I speak to
I
Gen
don't know.
Z when my beard is shaved, and they're like, "Oh, there we go," but I'm
Oh my gosh.
30, so
Dude, I don't know. I think you're a pretty good looking guy. Just between two friends here, you know. And no, yeah, I think like I don't know. And plus, you do a really good job at like taking, I don't know, just when we've hung out, like when we went to Iceland and stuff. Like you do have like a pretty good talent for just like figuring out how to take a photo, capture a video, make something interesting. Um, and so I don't know. I feel like you pressed into that a little bit too. And you also like you have a way of like finding things that are like yet to be things. Like when you told me about like, hey, post YouTube Shorts every day. Like right now they're going off. And I started posting YouTube Shorts, and I have like over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And most of them are men in India and Somalia, but like, you know what?
niche
They don't
market, man.
the niche market. They love seeing a pretty plain white guy go to the Mall of America.
Yeah,
So,
and that's a whole other side of it too. So there's the creative aspect, and like I said, I'm also like very nerdy, and you know me, I like getting very like technical about specs, and I keep up on I watch literally all the press conferences of all the social media companies, and I'm one of the first people to comment on Instagram's like creators profile. Like I'm always on it. I get notified. So, when it hit me like YouTube Shorts came out, it just clicks. It's like, hey, YouTube Shorts is new. How are they going to bring people over? They're going to give an F ton of reach, right? So I put my whole backlog onto YouTube Shorts, and in what was it, 2-3 weeks, I got 1,400 followers, which is subscribers, which isn't a ton, but I mean, how long before we did this? How long did it take us to get
yeah.
50? I think I had 13 over the course of like 3-4 months.
Yeah. I had 200, and it was from like I did vlogs for a little bit during COVID, and that was just yeah, it's a lot. It's really a lot. So
And
yeah,
the algorithm is a god. You have to please it. You have to sacrifice not only your time, you have to do what it wants. You have to, there shall be no, like each algorithm's fighting against the other. A bit like, give us your time, Jordan. YouTube Shorts, do not share your love with TikTok. And so you have to know, like, when does it benefit, be selfish, when does it benefit me to serve the Facebook meta god? Or should I serve the TikTok god or the YouTube short? Like, it's okay. You can be, what's the phrase to being, you have many gods? Um,
polygamy. No, that's
it's not
marriage.
polygamy. All right, let's change it. Instead of the algorithms being the gods, the algorithms are your lovers. Be polyamorous with these algorithms and love all of them. And when
Well,
it
yeah.
suits your needs.
Clip, clip. Okay. Okay. So just so I know the stuff you've made and like the kind of like fun content you've done, but like the average person listening right now doesn't really know. Like, can you explain the wall barber thing you just made? Like, what did they pay you to do? What does the end product look like? Because it's different. It's different than like normal video creation might be like, an average like some guy looks like Tom Brady shaving, in the mirror. Like
Yeah.
what did these do? What was the platform they wanted you to do it on? Yeah.
So there's two segments to this, and I'll start with what was first. It was making content for their TikTok account, and they actually approached me. I had one video go viral on TikTok, and when I say viral, it got like 500,000 views, which is really pretty good. But it was me sitting on a couch, literally saying, "What's there to do in Appleton, Wisconsin?" And then you'd think that's it. That's all it was. Me just sitting down on a couch and saying that. And this is after hundreds of hours of putting time into videos that I love and trying really hard. And then it's crap like that. It takes off. And the reason it takes off is because people are bored in Appleton, Wisconsin. So when you start curating a list and people start commenting and it recycles and they share it and they say, hey, look at all these things for us to do this weekend. And it becomes its own beast. And that's how it becomes viral. So it's cyclical. So I became the most popular video in Wisconsin in this period of time.
Oh my god.
And So when a company like Wall is looking for, every company, when you sign up for TikTok business, you get research tools on the back end. And they let you know, hey, here are creators that are popping off in these areas, and so they are looking for wall trimmers for guys. So they put in ages 18 to 30, accounts with this much popularity, this following, this engagement, and there I am sitting in, and I'm local because they're based out of Milwaukee, not Wall, but the agency that handles it. So they reached out to me. They said, hey, will you make content for us? And it's essentially like, be fun, give tutorials, do like skits, find trends, and try to implement the products that we give you into them. So it's, have you ever seen that video where the guy's like looking through the Pokemon and he's like, pass, pass, pass. And then like
No,
a Pokemon comes up and he's like pauses and he's like, smash. And it's like a hilarious video because it's just nonsense. But like a trend like that, right? So like, and I turn that in, I take that trend and I use this sound, and I'm holding up like a knife and I'm like, pass. I'm holding up like a vegetable peeler, I'm like, pass. And then I've got like a wall trimmer and I'm like, smash. And then I start like, just essentially, it's just like going along with the trend. So stuff like that. And then there's like more serious things. But yeah, it's just, it's not fun though. It's fun in the sense of like, it's different. Fun's maybe not the right word. It's different. Like when you're creating for yourself, no pressure. So for example, when you're creating for a company, and this is with several companies that I've worked for, they say, come up with the idea. You write an outline, formatted, right, of, which takes time, and you want it to be unique. You send it to them.
It's tough to copy and paste it into ChatGPT too. Yeah.
Yeah, this was right before ChatGPT, and honestly, ChatGPT really doesn't hold its own. I've tried it, and it doesn't come up with good skits yet. But you come up with an idea, send it to them, they adjust it. The advertising company sends it to the main company, they adjust it, send it back to him, they approve it, they send it to you and say, do this. You record the video, send it to him, they edit it, they take it, they send it to them, and they either approve it or they bounce it back to me to re-record things and them to re-edit. And that's for one video.
Holy
so God. What by yourself is a 30-second, hey, I'm going to sit on a couch, suddenly becomes, between 4 people, it's 6 hours of work for a 10-second video, which is so weird to think about.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is wild. That makes more sense though too, because you probably got a lot of people who are like checking you, like, do we want this guy to represent our brand?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's a lot more at stake, right? If I mess up and say something stupid, well, like obviously, like you could lose your job, right? Like maybe it goes viral, like this person said something awful, and yeah. But if I just do like a dumb video, like nobody cares if I make a dancing cat video, right? But companies that are throwing dollars behind their videos and are trying to sell product, they care. So it's weird because, a lot of big businesses haven't really tapped into, what makes a good TikTok. So to them, they want to make a commercial, which everyone knows as soon as it looks like you're being advertised to on TikTok, swiped away. That's why companies like Duolingo, have you seen like their Duolingo bird thing?
No, I haven't. No.
So it's like the bird. It's like their mascot. They've got like a big suit in it. But essentially, they made the mascot like unhinged, like almost like a serial killer type of like a really cute bird, but it'd like creep up behind people, and then people just started coming up with their own lore for this bird, and it just took off. And I'm pretty sure like the girl, she's like 19 or whatever, who decided to do this was just like an intern or something. She was like in the Times because of how much it took off. Like, so there's a lot of freedom with it, if the companies allow you the freedom.
When you say the Times, are you referencing the New York Times?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Appleton Times. No.
Oh, that's incredible. So, wow. Yeah. So, sorry to cut you off there. That I had no idea girls like 19 came up with that. That's a great idea.
The age might not be right, but she's young. Like she's like new to marketing, but she understood TikTok and she understood what people liked, and she went with it and it took off.
Wow, that's really funny. Yeah, there is like a different culture on the internet too to make something go viral where like, yeah, if it looks like the greatest video ever shot, like an advertisement, like I don't care, I'm swiping. Like I
Yep.
just who cares? But if it's like there's a couple things that like will get me to just stick around for a little bit, and one is like you said, like what's there to do in Appleton, something like that, or like sometimes a video where it's like you expect something to happen, like wait for it, you're like, where am I? What is happening? And there's like an anticipation, and sometimes though I get pissed at those because I'm like, the reason this guy has so many views is because nothing happens the whole time, but every
Top
viewer,
five videography techniques you need to know. Starting at 5. He goes to 5, he goes to 4, he goes, check out, follow for part 2, where I'm going to do numbers 3 and 2. Check out part 3 for video number 1.
no, no, dude, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
But it works. It works.
I
It may
totally
not
get
work
it.
on you, but if it for every one person it doesn't work with, it works great.
Yeah, you're right. Like last night, was watching a TV show, ended on a cliffhanger, and I needed to go to bed, and so I purposely, because I think I'm just built different, I said I don't even care what happens, and I closed my laptop and went to bed.
See, I don't have that willpower. If it's a blessing that like Ted Lasso and like these streaming programs started putting their episodes out weekly, because if they released them all out, I would binge. I would binge the whole thing in one day.
Dude, yeah. Dude, okay, so getting back to the, like what you're talking about. So you ended up making like about a 15 to 30 second basically vertical format video. Like basically with your is it with your phone or do you use your camera for these?
I switch it up for two reasons. I'll use my phone if I'm just crunched on time. You know, using your camera and like you just a DSLR and putting it vertical, you know, and putting it on a stand and putting a mic on it. It takes time. It does look nicer, and you know, no company's gonna fault you for a video that looks too nice. Um, but the reason I started using my camera, like my actual camera more, was practice. Was because I was like, hey, like once if a company hits me up and wants me to make a production type video that can work for vertical format, I want to know that I can grab gear out of my car and set up in 5 minutes. So I interspersed that tactic in my own work just to keep fresh and to make sure I knew how everything works.
Okay. Yeah, just getting practice with it. It doesn't really matter, I guess, the tool you're using because yeah, so you make them like yeah, these like 15 to 30 second videos that are like pretty cool. Um, Tell us about like the one you had to recently shave your face into like the Van Dyke. I didn't even know what that was at first. I thought you were talking about soccer. I was like,
Yeah. So the Van Dyke is a beard style that, and I'm cleanly shaven now. I got rid of the Van Dyke today because I got the video approved. But the Van Dyke is a
what if that had bounced around for like 4 months? Nah, not quite what we
dude.
want.
I was stressing about it. So you'll see like Captain Jack Sparrow. It's pretty much just like the mustache and then like a pointed like beard.
Okay.
So I looked a little bit like Satan. But as I waited for this video to get approved, just in case I had to film everything, like I couldn't shave. So I became like clean cut Satan to like homeless drunk Satan as my whiskers and stuff started growing in. So I just shaved it off earlier today. That's why I'm all clean. But so companies like Wall, you know, they have the TikTok side, but then they have, you know, the big companies, and then they have, you know, their marketing team that works on the website. So they're doing how-to videos essentially, and they said, you know, hey, they reached out to the other departments. Do we have anybody who could rock this style? Which I don't know why they chose me because I don't think I look too good. My mom says it looks all right, so. But they needed a video for their website. You know, when people go to Wall and they go, hey, here's a how-to video on how to do this style. So I walk them through how to do it. And that one was done with the camera. It's supposed to look nice. It's, you know, it's supposed to be bright, lit up, well done, clean bathroom. So in my tiny little bathroom, I had like 4 giant lights just lighting the whole thing up. To make it look really nice and shiny. But yeah, it's that was nice landscape type video, and Kind of like what I was saying, it was easy for me to do that because all the practice I had done with my camera, my nice camera, interspersing that in, I was like, this is
Mhm.
easy. Same thing, just turn to the side. I know how to have my audio hooked up, no stress. Because, if you don't know how to use it, a 30-minute project can easily turn into a 3-hour terrible time. And it's hard to be happy on a video when you're not feeling happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're the talent. You're the talent as
Yeah.
well as the camera operator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't imagine. Some days I get really stressed out on my camera, and I can't imagine having to be in front of it then, like
Well,
smiling.
even with the lights, like I was sweating, after an hour, maybe 30 minutes, and it's stressful too because you have one shot at shaving your beard in the right style, of a style you've never done before. So it was like I was like I recorded a lot of takes and like I did like a larger guard and I did like 3 or 4 different takes of each length I had it. So hopefully one of them would work.
Yep.
Um, so if you know how to do it exactly, it might have been a short video, but it was an hour plus long hot process for me.
Yeah, I think you said when you texted me, I said, "Hey, do you want to play FIFA?" And you said, "No, I'm Van Dyking." I
Yep,
think.
exactly.
And I thought, like, is that FIFA or is that like an episode of Ted Lasso that came out? Like, I don't know. So,
Yeah, but I was talking with somebody the other day who he turned down a an offer from America's Got Talent to go on to the show because he didn't think that his act could make it to the second round. He'd just be on the show and get X'd out. He's really talented. He's got really cool talent. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's one of those things that just wouldn't make it past multiple rounds, right? So he turned it down. And one of my big things to him was like, dude, like my mindset is every door that opens, if you haven't done it, do it. Like that
mm,
is a resume builder, that is a skill builder. Like you don't have to do it a lot. You can see if it fails, but to go in and to think that like, hey, like this isn't my thing, you don't know. And you don't know what doors it could open. Doing this TikTok beard thing, never thought, I never thought that like, hey, this is something I wanted to do. No, I didn't want to do that. Like I want to do like my own stuff, but it's paid for my wedding almost, right? And so like, and it's been a giant blessing, and it's gonna end. The contracts always end, right? I'm not gonna be the beard father for life, or maybe I am. That'd be cool. The face of wall, but um, but it's by being optimistic and trying and reaching out and taking the opportunities when they come up and just not getting discouraged, right? They say 99% of people,
mm.
even with podcasts, if you make more than 30 or it's like more than 20 episodes, you're already in the 1% of all podcasters ever.
Wow, I'm at like 13.
Yeah. So you're probably in the top 2%, but once you pass that 20%, everyone quits. And it's the same thing with content creation, Like I said, I'm 15 years over 1,000 videos deep, and it's just something I do. It's just like brushing your teeth. You just do it. It's natural.
Dude, that is awesome, man. That's so cool, Jordan. It's so fun to like hear about this too, because like whenever I hang out, I feel like when you remind me like about your like the TikToks and all the stuff you make, and like you're actually making money off it. Like I would have never thought you could do that like 5 years ago. If you'd have been like, yeah, I'm gonna create like videos for TikTok, and I'm gonna get paid like I don't know, $500 for making like three 30-second videos. I'd have been like, nah, I don't know if you will,
It's
but
even crazier now. TikTok just released a program where they're doing ad share revenue. So if you've got more than 10,000 followers and you have to have like 1,000 in the span of a month, you have to have 100,000 views, which for some people it's just super easy. For me, it's a little bit harder. I think I have to post like 400 times to get that.
get a while. Yeah.
But like there are people out there who get 10,000 views every time they post, and what they don't realize is join with these programs because every video you post is essentially $100 or $200, and you could be doing that every single day. And
Hmm.
that's a job. And like why work 8 hours a day when you could post 2 videos a day and make the same amount?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's really cool, man. It's cool to see like how you kind of branch out and find those things too. So I think you got a real knack for just being able to, yeah.
I'm a
Find
hustler.
yeah.
I'm looking for validation out in the world. That's really what it is. Wanting to be validated, and I think, uh, it's funny because when you're sitting at 10 followers, you're like, oh, I just want 100. When you get 100, you're like, I'd kill for 500. And then when you hit 500, you're like, if I get 1,000, I can live stream. And then I had 1,300 when I had that video hit 18 million, and then I went up to 48,000, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And then it's like you think like it's just always like, I wouldn't say like there's just always another level. Like nothing really changes. You're like, it kind of keep you like, oh, I want that high again. Like I'm probably still in that platform because they probably knew, they're like, oh, Jordan's slowing down. Let's give him the big fish now.
Oh my gosh.
But it took 1,000 videos. It took 1,000 videos to have one do that. And that video that went viral didn't even feature me in it. Had nothing to do with me. It was me recording my fiance's Christmas gift exchange.
Oh yeah, I remember that. People are like, what do they get? Like what's going on? Like people like watching Christmas
Everything
movies.
bad about that video made it viral. It was long. It was like people had to watch. They were waiting for the ending to see people open their gifts. I stopped the video. Nobody sees the gifts. And so it's exactly what I was telling you about. You get the comments of like, what a fun game, or how do I get the story for this game? But then you get a whole section of like, they'd follow me because be like, I want to see the gifts open, or like, I can't believe, and then it's just discussion. So some people, it's a strategy to almost make your videos bad. Some people will say the wrong word on purpose, so people will just start that conversation of like, are you sure you didn't mean this? And just weird things like that. Like they'll do a really nice commercial and like purposely have like a rat run in the background and just not even know it's there. So people will be like, did you see that? Like there's all these really kind of dirty, shady tactics to get the algorithm to get the people talking.
Because like one of the things like I dislike the most is like when you are like, I should probably appreciate it when people find out, but like if you ever have like any sort of like misspelling or typo after like a really good presentation, only people will fixate on the typo. That's it. Like
Yeah.
at the software company we used to work at, like you'd present the software you got done, and it took a ton of man hours as an incredible feature you got done. But if there was like one word spelled incorrectly, that's the only feedback you get. Like, what do you guys think? Is this useful for and be like, oh, I think what you meant to say here is this. That would be worded better. And you're like, because it's people's brains, like that's what they fixate on, is like that
Mm-hmm.
one thing. So I guess there is like a psychology there to like misspell your words, just so you can
Yeah.
keep the comment correctly.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like you'll see people put captions in there, and the captions will be off, and it'll say something like so out of context, like maybe like a phrase in there is just like not what they said, and it totally means something else. And suddenly you have 2,000 comments just being like, did you guys see what that caption said? But because 2,000 people are commenting, our TikTok god is like, something popular about this. Push it. This is something people like commenting on. And then it's just a constant thing. And there's no shortage of people in the world. Like 50% of the US is on TikTok. So even hitting 18 million views, right? That means nothing. That's such a small segment. And people think like, oh, I'm posting the same types of videos. Are people gonna get bored and be like, hey, they're not showing your videos to the same 200 people every time? They could do that. They could do that a million times in 200 million people, and so you'd have to post a million people, like a million times. There's an infinite amount of people dying and getting born and getting on TikTok that I don't worry about audiences and being like, am I creating too different of content or too much of the same type of content?
Fair enough. That's awesome, Jordan. No, thanks for sharing that. It's kind of cool to hear a little bit how you got into content creation, and just how just struggling, hustling, trying different things that maybe weren't your first option, but it also led to like pretty cool opportunities. So, hey, before you go, I have a question for you. Can you tell me? So this is one of my favorite stories about you, Jordan, and I think the viewers should hear it too. Tell us about the time you were in a gang in middle school.
This might hurt my career.
Oh,
All right.
so
No,
middle
that'll be
school
fine.
gang. It's not a real gang.
All right. I was in a middle school gang, and I had just left private school. It wasn't my thing. It was a very Southern Baptist school. It was very strict. It just wasn't my thing. The sports teams weren't that great. So I went to this middle school, which this middle school has now been shut down the year after I left and turned into a magnet school where all the smart kids go. But anyways, I had no friends. So I went, from this all white private school in Tennessee to kind of like the rougher part of town. Being the white kid was like the minority, and luckily for me, I played soccer. So we had a lot of Hispanic and Laotian guys there, and I became friends with them. And then, me just being like, let me make all these friends. This guy was like, hey, do you want to join our gang? And I was like, sure. Sounds like a club. And at the same, this was 8th grade. And
Okay.
there's this kid named William, this country bumpkin who used to just beat me up, throw me on top of the science tables, push me around. I was super scrawny and I was new, and you just bully me, right? And they're like, yeah, we got your back. And I was like, oh, this sounds perfect. It was the guys I played soccer with anyways. I was like, what's another club? So they're like, yeah, just meet us behind the soccer fields after practice. And I was like, okay, sure. I'll go and hang out with these guys. So it's me. It's 8 to 10 other kids, some older kids I didn't know. And, well, to join a gang, if this isn't even a gang, whatever. And to join their gang, which is called LG, I'm pretty sure if my memory serves me right, it stood for Los Gangsters, is what they called it. So looking back, I'm not sure how legitimate this was. But anyways, to join LG, you had to get jumped in. And being jumped in means you just fight 8 to 10 people at once.
Oof.
So I just got the crap beat out of me. And, well, actually, before this happened, in total Jordan way, I was like, okay. I had braces. And I was like, you just can't hit my face because my braces, my parents are paying for these. They're like, of course. I was like, okay. And just obviously just clothed things so bruises won't show. And they're like, of course. So, yeah, I just get the crap beat out of me. But then I was in the gang. And
How
then
long did the crap beat out of you for?
it's about 5 minutes. I don't really know. 5 minutes seems maybe on the long side, but just enough where I'm just on the ground being just in fetal position.
Oh.
So anyways, I'm an LG member, and the kid who was bullying me, he got beat up. They brought him in the bathroom and beat him up, when he tried to mess with me. No one messed with me anymore. Life was good. And then one day, one of the guys, he's like, hey, will you hold this for me? And I remember specifically my mom told me when I was going to public school, she said, don't ever hold anything for anybody. And I just thought she was being dumb. But that went inside my mind. And I was like, oh, sorry, my locker's messed up. I can't open it. He's like, okay. Later on, I see him getting escorted out by police because he had cocaine he wanted me to hold.
Gosh, this is 8th grade?
8th grade. It was kind of a rough area. So he got kicked out of school. And that was the triggering moment for me to be like, oh, I shouldn't be in this gang. This doesn't sound, I don't want to get in that trouble. So I met with one of the guys who's on the soccer team, and I was like, hey, I don't think this is for me anymore. We can all still be friends. He's like, yeah, we can still be friends. Just meet us outside, behind the soccer fields. I was like, okay. So I assumed just to discuss it. Turns out to leave a gang, you have to be jumped out. And they're not as nice on the way out as going in. So, same deal. Don't hit in the face. But this time I was prepared. And I think I held my own a little bit. It's still 1v8. So, same ending. Same fetal position. But when you're done, you're done. You're out. I'm free. And
Dang.
then that was life. So it only, so it was take 2 beatings to avoid the beatings of the bully for the whole year. Worth it in my mind.
Yeah, that's I've not thought about it that way, but yeah, I think you're totally that is a crazy story. Like I didn't go to like public middle school, but
No one
by the way,
believes it. No one believes it. No one in my family believes it. They think I'm making this up, but I vividly remember this whole experience, and it was total just me being naive of even like I think my only experience with gangs was playing Grand Theft Auto, and they all
yeah.
looked like they were like close homies, and that was perfect. That's what I wanted. I wanted homies.
For real. Also, like middle school is just a time where like people are, I don't know. I feel like they're worse than they are ever in their life. Typically, it just seems like I don't know. This is a time you like you start saying things you don't know what they mean, just
Yeah,
because they get a reaction. You
yeah.
start
I,
doing,
I, I was
yeah.
I was wearing big puffy skateboard shoes with the tongue hung out over my jeans. I would do. I remember specifically like thinking this girl was cute, and I did the worm in front of her to
Oh
impress her.
yeah, that probably
I had
worked.
never I had never done the worm before, and I was just like, I need to do the worm to impress her, and then I did the worm. And at the time, I thought that was really cool. But looking back, I'm like, what the heck was that, Jordan? That's not cool.
It's middle school, man. It's middle school. I one time in like sixth grade, I went to like a K through eight like private middle school, and I remember like telling me and my brother when we'd fall asleep at night, we'd tell each other jokes,
Hmm.
and like we were laughing so hard, like at this joke, like this, it was like an Elmo impersonation or something. We just were like saying funny things in the voice of Elmo, like that you would not expect him to say. And we were just dying. And I was like, this is so funny. I got to bring this to like a new audience. And we had a talent show at the middle school. And I went up and like tried to emulate what we were doing. And I was like, stage fright. Like, it was awful.
Oh
And it was
man.
the school assembly. And I remember like, it just didn't go well. And then my friend Ryan on the way like back to class goes, hey, a bunch of people were talking. And that was pretty stupid. Like, a bunch of it's like, dude, I know, I felt it. You don't have to say it, but now that you said it, it hurts more. Like I'm trying to get that out of my head.
Isn't it crazy how like those moments can just like stick with you? Like I can't remember anything I did in like seventh grade, but man,
Yeah.
I could tell you about my gang experience. I can tell you that that one lodged in the brain.
Man, that's such a cool story. Thanks for sharing, Jordan. Cool. Hey, man, that's everything I got for the podcast. And any other questions? Appreciate you coming on. Thanks for making the time. I know that I know you're a busy guy and you got a wedding you're planning and stuff too. So yeah, just look forward to talking to you more in the future. And how late are you staying up tonight?
I gotta ice my feet again, so a little bit longer.
FIFA? Are you
That means
still?
I
Are
got
you still? Did it break your heart? Are you
no,
still?
no, I'm back. That just means I just gotta carry the giant tub of ice and water upstairs.
Oh, for real,
I
for
can do it.
real.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Oh, really? Okay. You're the best. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'll end the podcast. I'll give you a call. All right. Appreciate you, Jordan.
See ya.
Peace.